First off, I'd like to thank our fans that fought the elements and the cold and the snow, and it was a really surprising atmosphere. I did not anticipate that many people. I didn't anticipate it being that loud, and our fans were great. We got off to an awful start, the worst start we've gotten off to in a long, long time. I don't remember being down that much that early in a game, and our fans helped us. Had our chances to cut into it further, both late first half, mid second half. Texas A&M was better. I mean, that's why they're winning the league. They're really, really connected. They're tough. They spread you out with a bunch of shooters. I thought we did a good job against a high-level pressure team. You know, it's impressive how they jam the basketball 1 through 5 and can turn you and get to your legs. And our guys did a good job with some of those things. But overall, again, our attention to detail with defensive rebounding, with shot selection, it just wasn't very good. I mean, we go 7 of 28 from 3, and I'd like maybe about half of those back. Honestly, it's in our guys' defense, when you're playing from a large deficit, you know, sometimes emotions can get the best of you with shot selection, with offensive decisions, and some of those possessions. But just shot a poor percentage in trying to come back, and played with a ton of energy, forced 14 turnovers. But as we're trying to overcome some of those shots there, mid to late second half, on the other end, we got beat backdoor a couple times. We had a couple poor wall-ups that led to layups, a couple poor fires that led to an and one. It was a 1-on-2. I mean, just our physicality on the interior has got to continue to improve. I've never been more excited about a bye week to get back to practice tomorrow.
Yeah, Mike, not to use too much for a football analogy, but I guess it was a couple seasons ago, Kirby talked about mental bandwidth. And you guys have just gone through a bit of a ringer with Texas, Tennessee, now a first place A&M team. Is there something to it as far as maybe where your guys are at mentally? I know you just said needing that week off. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more, Mike. We're not in the same place mentally that we were. Had some just had some poor decisions offensively and defensively. Just again, we weren't as connected, and I don't mean it to oversimplify it, but it's such a big part of our game at this level, especially in the SEC. A&M's about as connected as any team that we've played. Probably more so the most connected team we've played, and they'll continue to be. I'd be surprised if they continue to have success with. And, you know, they're older, they're skilled. We talked about it. They're tough. They take the right shots. They pass it well. I mean, AG had 7 assists, 15 rebounds. And we've shown signs of better decisions at times. But the grind of the SEC, these last few games, our schedule's been ramped up. Of course, we've had chances. We lost a couple really close ones. But our guys are resilient. We've got to clean up details, but our guys, they'll be ready to work. This team really works, and we'll accept messages tomorrow. We'll learn from film. We'll have a good practice.
Dylan and Blue were just saying they felt like there was a lack of urgency. How would you evaluate that aspect?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, from the opening tip, I don't know how you have a lack of urgency when you put up on the whiteboard 6-1 first place. Got a chance to, despite how the last game went, had our chances. Lost a tough one, and now you got the first place team in the league. And we're had 2 good practices too, 2 good practices. But sometimes that happens. Where, you know, a really good team just gets the best of you early. And, you know, I could sit here and talk about all the things we didn't do really well. Texas A&M's good. They're good. And they missed a couple of those early, and we made a couple of those layups and a couple of the open threes early instead of it being, I don't know what the score was, 22-2 or something at one point. I mean, it's 20. I mean, it could have easily been 10 at that point. and maybe you don't have as big a hole to crawl out of. But the way they started the game is really the story of the game. I mean, credit them. Bucky and staff doing a great job, and we play some similar styles. Respect the way they play, and they were really good today.
Just Santos' minutes, they
Yeah.
were chopped down today. Can you just talk
Yeah.
about that?
Tough matchup for him and Justin Abson defensively with their ability to stretch you with 5 guys. And AG's, he hasn't made a lot of threes this year. He makes 2 today, but spaces you with his ability to pass it and drive it. He's a really tough matchup for our conventional 5s. And then they bring in backup 5s. One in particular was Clemens coming into this game, who's coming off a game where he made 7 threes as a backup 5. So we were intentional about wanting to play Dylan James and Kareem Stagg some minutes at the 5. We thought it would help us defensively. And Samto obviously had his struggles with finishing at the rim, and so we rode the lineup. We rode late game. And again, we're playing from behind, so some of those decisions weren't maybe as conventional as some of the others in other games.
We'll go Dash and then Jordan on Zoom.
Coach, when you talk about, kind of losing the right mindset, right now, is that something that to put it simply, I guess, that a win can cure, or is there something else that has to happen between now and y'all play the next game to kind of turn that aspect around?
I think that a lot of the answers I can give you, we've already been through. And you guys cover us closely, and all of you, I'm sure, do a great job. But our details with this team, our level of focus at times have hurt us, especially with defensive rebounding. Coming in this game, we're 328 in the country in defensive rebounding, and we do all kinds of rebounding drills and blockout drills and emphasize it and watch clips on it. But the buy-in to those details, I think we got off to such a good start offensively this year and scoring so many points. And some of these guys received some accolades, and there's some hype around the way we're scoring it. Maybe at this point, after hitting this adversity, you have a week to really hone in on some of those details, but even offensive details. And we have to understand we've got to do it together. We've got some talented individual players. Texas A&M does too. But they move it and they turn it and they cut and they drive it and they kick it, and they got good looks. They got better shots than we got. And we, especially when playing from behind, we can't continue to try to hit grand slams in the SEC against these defenses. That's why we shot the percentages that we shot. So that detail, all of the little details offensively in terms of what our system is and when I'm supposed to be in the corner and when I'm supposed to be filling, and when I'm supposed to flash to the elbow and when I throw it to the elbow, where I'm supposed to go, all of those little details, probably along complemented mostly defensively, again, with defensive rebounding, are things that we can improve upon. And this team they'll work at it. They will. How bought in we'll see. But that factor will be a determinant factor in how this team finishes and to what level this team progresses. But it's a resilient program. We're going to jump right back at it. We got all kinds of opportunities right in front of us. This program lost 4 games 2 different times last year in a row, and we're going to keep at it. We've got some really good guys, and we've got enough talent to bounce back. And again, I'm anxious to get back to work.
Jordan and
Quick follow-up if I can. Just want to check on Jake Wilk because he didn't play today.
Yeah, it was one of those. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't premeditated. This was a game where your offensive focus starts with press attack and your ball decisions, your maturity and poise versus pressure and full court press and running and jumping. And I thought Jay Bailey made a big impact on the game when we got off to a really tough start. And then Jeremiah, I knew it would be a high possession game. I thought he was in a pretty good rhythm. Just felt decent about the guys that had been given opportunities. If one of those guys were really struggling or had gotten into some major foul trouble, it might have been different. But Jake's doing great. Had 2 good practices. He'll keep working and keep developing.
Jordan, then Weiser, then we're done.
You mentioned a few minutes ago Somto. He's had a couple of quiet games in a row now. In your mind, what's it going to take to kind of get him back?
Mentally, he's got to respond better. I love him, and he's had some huge games, and his maturity compared to this time last year it's night and day. He's come a long way, and he's a really talented kid. And when we, our decisions are really important in close, important games. When you miss a layup at the rim, we can't have 5 seconds where we're arguing with the refs while the other team's laying the ball. Like we have to respond better and sprint back and move on to the next play. And he's gotten so much better at that, and he was just struggling with finishing a little bit. And again, I thought their interior AG and some of those other guys, I think a wing came up from behind him and blocked one of those really good looks that he got. But that's one area that he'll continue to work on to improve upon is just our responses to negative plays, and it's all of us. It's that one just comes to mind. I'm just trying to give you an answer, but again, it was a tough defensive matchup for him as well with this team. Kind of an outlier. Not many teams in our league where I don't think he'll have an ability to impact the game defensively like this one. That'll be this different. But I anticipate him coming back and having a big game.
Weiser, last question.
Mike, you've talked for more than 10 minutes, but I kind of want to frame it from you guys were top 25 a week ago. Now you had 3 straight losses. What do you think has led to that?
The SEC schedule. I mean, we were top 25, won a game on the road, and then we're up 7 on the next one, correct? If I'm not mistaken. And could have easily, jumped up to, I don't know. And again, none of that, I know that's great for our fans and for family and friends and all that, but the way we played in the second half at Texas, just looking back at it, just physicality, defensive rebounding, same stuff today. I mean, we cut it close today. I know they only had 14 offensive rebounds. They were huge. They were 3 or 4 in one possession. They were loud, that led to made threes. So it continues to be a problem for us. Our defensive rebounding numbers are really poor. The adversity that we faced, I think, has, again, made us try a little bit too hard with the ball in our hands. Let's play harder in other areas. One of the messages to our guys, when the ball's in our hands, let's let it come to us, and let's take our shot. But those have been our 2 biggest issues: shot selection, defensive rebounding. In that game, the following game, and today.